President Lee Jae-myung has returned home after an extensive tour of the Americas, where he advanced South Korea's AI ambitions while securing new agreements to strengthen trade, energy, and supply chain resilience. The government has unveiled a tax reform package centered on overhauling the comprehensive real estate tax as it looks to improve fairness while struggling to rein in soaring home prices despite tighter lending and housing regulations. The record-breaking heatwave is expanding across the country, with the capital expected to swelter near 37 degrees Celsius all week after days of extreme temperatures in the southeastern region. President Lee Jae-myung is back in Seoul after a wide-ranging tour of the Americas, securing AI partnerships and key agreements aimed at boosting South Korea's trade, energy security, and supply chains. Our Blue House correspondent Yoon-min starts us off.
Kicking off his overseas trip in San Francisco, President Lee Jae-myung has announced the San Francisco AI Declaration, pledging to make South Korea an irreplaceable pillar of the global AI supply chain.
세계 최고 수준의 메모리 반도체 경쟁력과 생산 역량을 토대로 신뢰할 수 있는 AI 반도체 생산 기지이자 공급망 파트너가 될 것입니다.
The event was attended by big tech leaders, including NVIDIA's Jensen Huang, OpenAI's Sam Altman, Samsung's Lee Jae-yong, and SK's Choi Tae-won. Samsung and SK Hynix have announced AI cooperation plans with the global tech giants worth $950 billion, highlighting their partnership. The sentiment was extended into a dinner meeting.
우리는 지구다!
President Lee has also met 6 top venture capital firms in Silicon Valley, including Andreessen Horowitz, for broader South Korea-U.S. partnership in technology and startups. After wrapping up a series of major corporate events in the U.S., President Lee took a trip to key economic powers in South America for one-on-ones with his counterparts from Brazil, Chile, and Argentina.
With Brazil, we have signed a joint statement on critical and strategic minerals, including rare earths, for cooperation across the entire value chain. We also have signed MOUs with Chile, which owns the world's largest copper and lithium reserves, and Argentina, the world's 4th largest lithium reserves.
Following the Korea-Brazil summit, Lee and Lula have agreed to resume talks within the year to discuss the Korea-Mercosur trade agreement. Over in Santiago, the leaders of South Korea and Chile have agreed to resume their bilateral free trade commission to modernize the trade agreements after the ECOST summit. President Lee has also met with Argentine President Javier Milei. As a result of the talks, South Korea will begin introducing crude oil from Argentina next year as part of an effort to diversify energy supplies and reached an agreement to avoid double taxation.
Following a flurry of diplomacy in recent weeks involving the EU, G7, and NATO, President Lee's trip to the Americas centered on AI, trade, and supply chains in the face of a fast-changing global order. Yoon-min, Arirang News, Buenos Aires.
The South Korean government has rolled out a sweeping tax reform package centered on revising the comprehensive real estate tax to promote tax fairness. Our Kim Bo-kyung has the details.
With Seoul apartment prices posting their sharpest first-half gain in 18 years, despite tough government regulations, the administration has unveiled a tax reform plan targeting property owners. One of the major reforms raises the basic tax deduction for owner-occupied single homes to 1.4 billion won, while lowering it to 900 million won if the owner does not reside in the property. The move is designed to ease the financial burden on primary residents while normalizing taxes for non-occupiers. The government will also overhaul the comprehensive real estate tax system, shifting from a home count model to one based strictly on property value. Differentiated tax rates for multiple homeowners will be phased out by 2028. However, tax rates for properties valued between 600 million and 1.2 billion won will rise starting next year.
Our primary goal in rationalizing the real estate tax system is to ensure fairness. That means offering greater tax benefits for owner-occupied homes, particularly for middle-class households, while ensuring an appropriate tax burden on higher-value properties.
Under existing rules, residents earning capital gains were eligible for an annual basic deduction of 2.5 million won. Under the new plan, the basic capital gains deduction will increase tenfold, from 2.5 million to 25 million won, for single homeowners who have lived in their property for over 10 years, aiming to reduce the tax burden on long-term residents. Multiple property owners selling homes in regulated areas previously faced heavy capital gains tax surcharges. To encourage owners to bring properties to market, the government will temporarily ease these surcharges during a targeted window through 2027 and 2028.
Considering the normalization of property holding taxes, the government will temporarily extend capital gains tax relief for multi-homeowners through 2028, giving those who wish to sell a viable opportunity to bring their properties to market.
Despite such tax reforms to curb house prices, one expert says property owners are not going to sell as the price keeps going higher.
Even with higher taxes, many homeowners will likely hold onto their properties due to strong expectations of future price growth. Because physical land for new housing is limited in Seoul and the capital region, expanding urban redevelopment and reconstruction is essential to truly stabilizing prices.
Meanwhile, the tax reform package also includes expanded tax credits for monthly rent payments to ease housing costs for working-class households, while directing more fiscal incentives toward non-metropolitan regions to foster balanced local growth. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
South Korea has officially dismantled its Defense Counterintelligence Command, replacing it with 3 separate organizations in a major military reform aimed at preventing the political misuse of military intelligence. Park Kwon-woo has more.
The Defense Counterintelligence Command has officially been dissolved, with its 3 core functions now divided among separate organizations. The newly established Defense Counterintelligence Agency will take charge of counterintelligence, while the Defense Security Support Group will handle military security. Security investigations will be carried out by a new unit under the Defense Ministry Security Investigation Group. The overhaul has been a key government priority, driven by fierce public backlash over the agency's involvement in former President Yoon Suk-yeol's December 2024 martial law decree. Those reform efforts culminated Monday in Gwacheon, where Defense Minister An Kyu-baek hosted the official launch ceremony for the new Defense Counterintelligence Agency.
What we're leaving behind today is the dark past of a counterintelligence agency that strayed away from its original mission and became a tool of those in power, ultimately leading up to the December 3rd insurrection. We've worked with painful resolve to root out these long-standing practices.
The Defense Ministry expressed confidence that the launch marks a major turning point, ending the era of an agency once abused as a political power tool and replacing it with an organization built on public trust. Officials added that the agency will bolster its response to foreign espionage and terrorist threats from North Korea. Its mandate will also expand to safeguard advanced technologies like AI while providing critical security support for defense industry projects, including U.S. Navy ship maintenance and overhaul. The Defense Security Support Group will focus exclusively on military security, conducting audits and investigating security breaches. Meanwhile, the new investigation unit will target national security crimes, including espionage and leaks of military secrets. Practices that repeatedly sparked controversy under the former command, such as political surveillance of military personnel and improper intelligence gathering, have been permanently abolished. While concerns linger over potential operational gaps during the transition, the Defense Ministry emphasized that all 3 organizations will closely share intelligence and collaborate on security investigations. Park Kwon-woo, Arirang News.
A historic U.S.-Japan currency intervention has brought the yen back from a 4-decade low, while offering some relief to the South Korean currency. Park Jun-han explains.
In a rare move, the U.S. Treasury recently sold euros to purchase Japanese yen. Meanwhile, the Japanese government sold U.S. dollars to buy its own currency. This marks the first coordinated market intervention by the two countries in 15 years, and the first such case in 28 years in which the U.S. has bought Japanese yen. In 2011, following a massive earthquake in Japan, yen was sold to buy U.S. dollars, effectively preventing the yen from becoming too strong against the dollar. This time, the two sides took action after the yen recently weakened to nearly 164 yen per dollar, its lowest level in 40 years. As of Monday, 3:30 p.m. Korean time, the dollar was trading at around 156 yen. Following the move, Japanese officials stressed their readiness to continue defending the currency.
Japan's Ministry of Finance is closely monitoring the situation and remains in close communication with the U.S. Treasury Department. We will not hesitate to conduct further coordinated intervention if necessary.
The reason behind the coordinated action lies in the U.S. bond market. To defend the yen on its own, Japan would normally sell off its massive holdings of U.S. treasuries. Since Japan is the largest foreign holder of American government debt, a massive sell-off would cause U.S. interest rates to spike. That would mean higher borrowing costs for Americans, something Washington would want to avoid. Through their coordinated actions, the two countries were able to protect the economic interests of both nations.
Because we have a good relationship with Japan, we're very strong, very, very strong financially. And they have a weakening yen, and they wanted a little bit of help, and we're always there for Japan.
This could also provide indirect relief to Korea, which has been grappling with a weak currency. The Korean won tracks the Japanese yen closely, meaning a stronger yen could also boost the won's value. In a related development, Korean and Japanese foreign exchange authorities last Thursday reportedly sold U.S. dollars in the market following a rate check by U.S. authorities. The move helped the Korean won climb to a 9-month high against the dollar. Park Jun-an, Arirang News.
Another day of record-breaking heat is baking South Korea, with temperatures exceeding 41 degrees Celsius in parts of the southeast and Seoul reaching around 37. And with forecasters predicting no immediate let-up, the sweltering conditions are set to continue. Jung has more.
Under a relentless sun, normally busy streets in Seoul have been left almost deserted. The few people who are outside move quickly beneath parasols, seeking shade or retreating into air-conditioned buildings. Even late in the afternoon, heat stored in roads and buildings continues to radiate the city. Automatic weather stations recorded 41.2 degrees Celsius in Goryeo, Gyeongsang-buk-do province on Monday and 41.1 degrees in Daegu. It marked the first reading above 40 degrees in the city in 84 years. Temperatures also reached around 39 degrees in Gwangju and other southern regions, while Seoul, Daejeon, and Cheongju climbed to around 37 degrees.
Well, it's incredibly hot. I'm completely sweating. It is way different from the UK where we're coming from.
Incredibly hot. I'm basically evaporating right now. I'm so sweaty. I'm probably going to become fully water at this point.
I'm sweating too much right now, and commute is tiring due to the heat.
The severe heat has recently shifted toward western regions as easterly winds cross the mountains. As the air descends on the western side, it becomes hotter and drier. The prolonged heat is also taking a toll. Authorities say 2,025 heat-related illness cases have been reported since monitoring began on May 15th, including 16 deaths. More than 432,000 livestock and around 165,000 farmed fish have also died amid the extreme temperatures. The government has activated Level 2 emergency operations. In Seoul, where 162 heat-related illnesses and 2 deaths have been reported, the city is expanding support for vulnerable residents and outdoor workers. It is also extending shelter operations and distributing ice water and cooling towels.
The extreme heat is expected to continue for the time being. Authorities are advising people to limit time outdoors, drink plenty of water, and take frequent breaks in shaded or air-conditioned places. 정혜림, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, while many seek shelter from the scorching heat, countless workers remain on the front lines, braving the extreme temperatures to keep our daily lives moving. Shin So-eun has the story.
The comforts and conveniences many take for granted are provided by the labor of someone else. The delivery man remains out on asphalt that's touching 40 degrees Celsius, while many enjoy a meal delivered to their air-conditioned home.
I usually work at least 12 hours a day. Delivery rates have fallen, so I have no choice but to work longer to earn enough to live.
As customers' ratings are based on speed, many riders pick up 2 orders at once to save time. Cooling vests and other heat protective gear are becoming more common, but due to high cost, not every rider has them.
In May, the government and 8 delivery platforms pledged to guarantee riders rest without penalty, but with rankings and pays. Still, depending on the number of orders, riders say it is merely impossible to take a break.
According to delivery platform operator Ua Brothers, orders placed by foreign customers more than quadrupled in just 1 year, while their total value rose 308%. With the rising popularity of K-delivery culture, for riders crossing the city under blazing sun, stopping work is deemed a rare option.
People may think delivery work is easy, but even 1 hour riding in this heat is tough. I hope they think about what riders endure.
Metalworkers laboring amid flying sparks are no exception. Amid temperatures in Seoul that climb to 34 degrees Celsius and tropical night advisories covering much of the country, most workers rely only on fans as air conditioning can stir up hazardous metal dust.
Even standing still, the heat is unbearable, and welding makes it worse. By morning, my eyes are sore and watering, and my whole body aches.
While welding demands exceptional precision and skill, heat from steel plates and welding equipment pushes the feel-like indoor temperatures higher.
The heat reaches around 3,000 degrees. Without a welding mask, you can suffer severe burns and eye pain.
As of 2026, the number of workers whose heat-related illnesses were recognized as occupational injuries has risen nearly 6-fold over the past 5 years. Authorities are now urging workers to stay hydrated and requiring employers to provide a 20-minute break every 2 hours. Shin So-eun, Arirang News.
Running is gaining popularity among foreigners as a new way to explore Seoul. Runners say they can take in the city's scenery up close, and Korea's safe streets make it easy to run both the day and night. Our Park Chae-ryung tells us more.
Runners from different parts of the world gather along the Hangang River in Seoul. They're not here just to exercise, but to experience the city one step at a time. 7 runners form a circle for a group warm-up. Together, they stretch and loosen up before the morning run. For these runners, exploring Seoul does not mean taking a tour bus. It means putting on their running shoes and hitting the road.
So I arrived in South Korea about 5 months ago, so South Korea is still quite new for me. And running is such a great way to explore South Korea and everything it has to offer. And it's also so safe as well. The paths are well maintained, and that's why I love it so much.
We started with a couple of foreigners, and as they began bringing their friends, more and more international runners joined. Now, we run along the Han River together and often hang out afterward.
As they run along the Hangang River, Seoul's bridges, skyline, and riverside parks unfold around them. They move side by side, chatting and laughing along the way. The route lets them discover details of the city they might otherwise miss.
Running alone can be exhausting, but when I run with other people, we can talk along the way, explore new routes, and enjoy Korea's scenery more deeply.
After completing the 4-kilometer course, the runners are all smiles, cheering as runner's high kicks in. One runner's watch shows 7 kilometers, including an extra 3 completed before the group run.
I went running with my friends here who I've met living in Seoul together. I met them through running on the Han River, spending the weekends together, accomplishing our goals, pushing our heart rates, and making fun memories. So I'm really glad to have them in my life and to be able to run with them.
As more foreigners look for active ways to explore Seoul, K-running is expected to become even more popular. Park Chae-ryung, Arirang News.
K-pop boy group Stray Kids is hitting the global stage once again. The group successfully wrapped up the Seoul leg of its world tour titled Run It this past weekend at the K-SPO Dome, selling out every single one of its 5 shows there. Now the tour will head to Japan, where the Octats will become the first ever international male act to headline Tokyo's famous National Stadium, performing at the 80,000 capacity venue for 2 nights. The tour will then sweep across major Asian hubs, including Hong Kong, Taipei, and Singapore through next year, with more dates and locations expected to be announced. Meanwhile, this marks the group's return to a global itinerary just 9 months after wrapping up the record-breaking Dominate tour. Time now to take a look at what's been happening in the world of sports. For that, we turn to our sports editor, Paul Neete, joining us in the studio. Welcome back, Paul.
Hello, thank you.
Paul, let's start with football. Heung-min scores once again.
Yes, for the 4th game in a row. Son has really hit a rich vein of form of late, having not scored in MLS until a couple of weeks ago. Son's latest goal came on Saturday in LAFC's 1-1 draw with Vancouver Whitecaps. It was the top 2 going toe-to-toe, and LAFC opened the scoring through Son against the conference leaders. Son received the ball around 12 yards out, turned and fired the ball into the corner. Thomas Müller levelled for the Whitecaps, so the spoils were shared. Son had been on a long goal drought in MLS, but post-World Cup has found form again. Meanwhile, Heung-min marked his official debut for FC Porto by winning the Portuguese Super Cup. Porto beat Torrense 1-0 with Hwang coming off the bench on 72 minutes. He moved to Porto earlier this summer from Dutch side Feyenoord.
Well, speaking of famous clubs from Europe, I understand Bayern Munich have arrived here in Korea, haven't they?
They have, yes. They arrived in Korea on Sunday, landing at Jeju International Airport in the afternoon. It was just in time, actually, for coach Vincent Kompany to head to Jeju World Cup Stadium and watch Jeju SK draw 3-3 with Incheon in K-League 1. But the real reason the Giants of Bundesliga are in Korea is to take on Jeju SK on Tuesday in a friendly match. Kim Min-jae is part of the travelling squad, and it's his 2nd visit to Korea with Bayern, having come over for the Kupang Play Series 2 years ago. Jeju SK are one of Bayern's partner clubs, and the match is part of the Audi Summer Tour. The very next day, the Kupang Play Series gets underway with English Premier League side Manchester City taking on Team K-League. But it's a City side without some big names. The likes of Erling Haaland, Ruben Diaz, Mark Gay and Rodri, among others, are all given extra rest after the World Cup. Then on Sunday, City will face Atletico Madrid, which should see Lee Kang-in make his debut for Atleti, having recently signed from PSG.
I see. Now, moving on to baseball, the weather has had an impact on the KBO.
It has, yeah. Matches were cancelled over the weekend because of the extreme heat. And it might not be a surprise to find out that there were games in the southeast of the country. On Saturday, the Lotte Giants, a Busan-based team, had their match with the Samsung Lions cancelled. So too the NC Dinos, based in neighbouring Changwon, who were due to play the Kia Tigers. With temperatures expected to be around 37 degrees Celsius, the KBO decided to cancel the games. On the same day, the KBO announced that matches could be pushed back by up to an hour to help with the heat. On Sunday, NC Dinos against the Kia Tigers was again cancelled with temperatures at 38 degrees, and Lotte Giants versus Samsung Lions was pushed back 30 minutes.
Well, the heat is no joke, for real. Paul, finally to MLB, where on Sunday there was a Korean derby. Tell us more.
Yes, there was Jung-hoo versus Song Sung-moon. That's, of course, the San Francisco Giants against the San Diego Padres. The Padres came out on top with a 5-4 win, but it was Jung-hoo of the Giants who had the more productive outing. He recorded his 33rd multi-hit game of the season to raise his batting average to above .300. He went 2 for 3, reaching base 3 times, while Song went 0 for 4. He earned his 7th stolen base of the season as well.
Alrighty, thank you for the wrap-up, Paul. I'll see you next week.
Thank you.
The scorching heat that had been focused on the Gyeongsang-do provinces has now spread westward. Seoul soared to 36.7 degrees Celsius this afternoon, making it the hottest day of the year so far. That prompted the first severe heatwave warning of the season for Seoul, and it'll take effect at 11 a.m. tomorrow. And unfortunately, tropical nights will continue in many areas. Tomorrow, scattered showers could pop up across Chungcheong-do provinces and the southern regions, bringing anywhere from 5 to as much as 60 millimeters of rain. Seoul has now had 12 straight tropical nights, and tomorrow morning will still start at around 27 degrees, while Daejeon and Daegu will be at around 26 degrees. Then by the afternoon, Seoul and Daejeon will get up to 37 degrees, while Busan will be at 34 degrees. We're looking at several more days of intense heat. So keep drinking plenty of water and don't underestimate just how dangerous this heat can be. Now here's a look at the weather around the world.
That's all we have for tonight. I'm Kim Dami. From all of us here at Arirang, thanks for watching and good night.